Senior Lecturer of Linguistics at the UWI St Augustine campus and the President of the Society for Caribbean Linguistics, Dr. Jo-anne Ferreira, believes that the COVID-19 pandemic has shown the importance of using indigenous languages for conveying meaning.
Guyana had something very important going on for COVID-19. The groups that kept being left out of the discussion were the minority or the minoritized. So Creole speakers in Guyana, most of our Creoles that we call dialect, some of them we call patois, most of them people don't care about them. They just figure, well, no big deal. Haiti probably is one of the few places, St. Lucia, Dominica, a couple others. But Creole speakers in Guyana weren't getting the information about COVID-19. And if you want to tell people to wash their hands and to wear face masks, you can't necessarily say it in the language of the government. You need to talk to people in their own language respectfully. It's not talking down to people. It's not talking negatively. You're meeting people where they're at. Because if you have one code and they have another, well, then either find a mutual code or speak to them in their code. So it's easier for one government official to learn bits of a language than for a whole community to have to go and swing around to another language.
2019 was observed as the Year of Indigenous Languages, during which time the UN Assembly President stated that 2 indigenous languages are dying every month. Dr. Ferreira says at one point our nation was host to at least 12 indigenous languages. She outlined some of the work involved in the retrieval of those languages.
So in terms of what we need to do linguistic mapping, linguistic landscape, geolinguistics, and language revival is something really important, and it can be done. What it might mean in this digital, virtual, physical distancing day and age is depending a lot more on things like WhatsApp groups and social media. In fact, there are languages around the world that are being revived or being consolidated because of social media. And parents who have to stay at home talking their mother tongues to their children.
As to the concept of Spanish as Trinidad and Tobago's second language, the linguistics expert says that English may not be our first language, and we should approach learning languages from that perspective.
Not everybody has English as their first home, vernacular, everyday language. So that is a massive assumption calling Spanish our second language, when for some people English is their second or even third language already. So I would say Spanish as our third language probably, because it means that first of all we need to give recognition to our home languages because those are extremely important for all kinds of reasons. One of the basic principles of pedagogy is to take children from the known to the unknown. So if you are using highly technical language or even English that is not used in everyday space, you have to get across that barrier first and then deal with the concepts. Bilingualism is just the beginning of multilingualism. It's not like we're going to lose English in a hurry. So there's something called additive bilingualism. So we'd have to be able to convince people that if you add an extra language, you're not going to lose the first one or the second or the third.
Dr. Ferreira's research has led her to start creating maps of Caribbean and Arawakan names. This work is meant to be published eventually as a digital atlas. DK Roster, TGT News.